welcome Sabrina Jordan and Governor Tony Evers.
Hello, Wisconsin! Everybody's fired up. Everybody's fired up. It's great to be here to welcome President Joe Biden back to Wisconsin. You know, recently I was in Milwaukee, did you hear that? Talking to a crowd of fired up Democrats at their convention, and today I'm going to tell about the stuff that I'm going to talk about today too. If I had to sum up the last several years, it would go something like this. It's simple. Democrats are getting shit done and delivering for Wisconsin. Now, folks, I've been governor under both Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and let me tell you, the choice this November is absolutely clear. There's only one president who's consistently delivered for Wisconsin, and his name is Joe Biden. You know, take this week, just this week as an example. On Tuesday, the Biden-Harris administration announced Wisconsin was officially selected as a U.S. regional tech hub. Now, this is a huge deal and something I've worked with Senator Tammy Baldwin over the last few years with her. And this is a $50 million project that will position Wisconsin to be a national leader in cutting-edge industries and creates thousands of new jobs and billions, that's that billion with a B, worth of economic development in Wisconsin. That deserves a holy mackerel. And you may remember another thing here. My predecessor, it's been a decade since he last won an election after all, but I bet you remember his Foxconn boondoggle. But first of all, I fixed it. I renegotiated a contract that saved taxpayers $2.77 billion. And not only that, but thanks to the help of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I announced Microsoft is investing a $3.3 billion investment to develop a state-of-the-art data system in Mount Pleasant. And it's not only expected to bring thousands of union construction jobs by the end of this year, but it's also going to put Wisconsin on the map, leading in artificial intelligence and advanced manufacturing, and that is a major holy mackerel. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are helping us get it. So get this, the Biden-Harris administration is helping us with the necessary investments to replace the Blatnick Bridge between Duluth and Superior. And that bridge serves hundreds of thousands of trucks and transports billions of dollars of goods between those two states. Yes, absolutely. And get this, over 410,000 households and businesses will have new or improved high-speed internet, thanks in part due to the investments I directed under the Biden-Harris American Rescue Plan Act. And you may remember, Republican legislators took a 300-day vacation from passing bills during the pandemic. and the worst economic disaster in a decade. But with the help of the American Rescue Plan Act, we were able to rebuild Wisconsin's economy from the ground up. We supported over 100,000 businesses, direct pays, and helped more than 9,000 businesses open up vacant storefronts across all main streets of Wisconsin. We traded or replaced hundreds of wells that had PFAS and nitrates and other contaminants. We've aided more than 20,000 farmers, and we delivered rental assistance to over 40,000 households in the state of Wisconsin. Now, folks, I could go on and on. I won't do that. Now, not everybody's heard about all these good things that have happened. But because the thing about me and Joe, we're not flashy, nor are we fancy. We're not for political drama or fanfare. We put our heads down and do the work. We always try to do the right thing. And we're always going to say it straight. Now compare this to the other guy. There's so much at stake this November, and here's the truth. Donald Trump is a danger threat to our country and our democracy. He's not running to help others. He's only running to serve only himself. He's not capable of telling the truth or being honest, and he's got a radical agenda that he plans to pursue when he returns to the Oval Office. What we all know, Donald Trump will gladly sign a national abortion ban. And think about this. This week, Donald Trump's hand-picked justices to the U.S. Supreme Court, the same court that stripped millions of Wisconsinites of their reproductive freedom overnight, and that includes 7 women in my family. It's a decision that, as the dissenting judges put it, makes a president immune from prosecution for things like ordering Navy SEALs to assassinate a political rival or accepting a bribe in exchange for a pardon. Folks, that happened in the United States of America this week. And also, this is serious. When you go home, Google Project 2025 and tell everybody you know to do the same. According to his advisors that prepared that, Trump wants to fire as many as tens of thousands of civil servants and replace them with his own loyalists and supporters. Folks, there's a reason President Biden is here in Wisconsin the day after Independence Day. Because as we reflect on the values we hold, those that we hold dear, values like upholding peaceful transfer of power, protecting the fundamental right to cast a vote, and our pursuit of freedom, justice, and equality, the choice this November has never been more clear. Folks, the future of democracy runs right through the great state of Wisconsin, and we're going to stop Donald Trump. We will vote to protect reproductive freedom and access to safe legal abortion. We will vote to defend LGBTQ people of color, seniors, and many more. We will vote to save our democracy. We will vote to make sure the guy who has more felonies than Baskin-Robbins has flavors stays the hell out of the White House. 123 days, folks, and we're going to spend every single day for the next 123 days knocking on doors, chipping in when we can, and making sure all our friends, our family, and neighbors know what's at stake and do the same. Every day for the next 123 days, remember this: we owe it to those who came before us and to those who are coming after us to never give up on this great democracy. We cannot take for granted 1 second that this is an important responsibility for all of us. So let's get to work, Wisconsin, and thank you so much. Thank you all. And now it's my honor to introduce Sabrina Jordan. Sabrina, it's all yours, folks.
Wow. Hello. Hello. Who is Sabrina Jordan? I'm you. I'm America. I'm you. I am so honored to be with you here today. My name is Sabrina Jordan, and I have lived in Wisconsin all of my life. All of my life. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. For many years, I did not vote. Many years. That's right. Oh, I heard somebody say that. For a number of reasons. But ultimately, it came down to that I really didn't believe that I could make a difference. It wasn't until Barack Obama and Joe Biden ran, and I went to the polls for the very first time. Now, with this election, with Donald Trump running again, I realized I had to do even more. I had to do much more to stop that man. The thought of him returning to the White House scares me. And I don't scare easily. Even worse than destroying the jobs in Wisconsin. Even worse than overturning Roe versus Wade and calling for women to be punished. Let me say that again. Calling for women to be punished. Even worse than promoting violence and talking about bloodbaths. Even worse than systematically stripping away the precious freedom that we just celebrated yesterday. Now, he's actually planning to rule our country as some kind of dictator. We all should be scared of that. So that fear generated a deep conviction in me. So I got involved. This is the first election that I'm volunteering for. This is the first time first time. A political campaign? What, me? Yes, me. Absolutely. I knock on doors. I talk to the community. I talk to friends. I talk to families. And if you can't tell, I preach a little bit. Right? Why? I encourage them. I urge them to look past Donald Trump's lies and see through to the truth and the goodness and the will and the might and the honor of a man who tells the truth, Joe Biden. Guess what? I think they're starting to pay attention. They're starting to pay attention. Oh, yes. I'm looking at you, and I know it's true. I am so proud. I'm so proud of volunteering with the Wisconsin Dems. So proud. I'm proud. I know I'm making a difference. I know that there are thousands of people across Wisconsin that are making that same difference. All of our work is what's going to make it happen. It's the only way that we're going to defeat Trump. We're going to send President Joe Biden back to the White House with Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, it is my great honor to introduce a man who has fought every single day for our country to move it forward. A man who comports himself with the dignity befitting a president of this country. A man who has made my life better, who is working to make your life better, is working to make our communities better. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you my president, your president, the next president of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
Wisconsin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Wisconsin, Wisconsin, Wisconsin. I gotta thank somebody. Gaylord Nelson, I'm back. He first introduced me to Wisconsin a long time ago when I was a kid. I'm only 40 now, but I was a kid back then. Sabrina, thank you for the introduction and for the volunteering for our campaign. And a special thanks to one of the best governors I've ever worked with in my life, Tony. You've got a former governor, Jim Doyle, or Madison mayor of this city. And look, we got a guy who has a tough time winning an election. He only gets 70% of the vote, Congressman Mark Pocan. And so many local leaders here today, including the chair of Wisconsin Democratic Party, Ben Wickler. Ben, hello. Oh, Ben. Folks, did you have a good 4th of July? By the way, if you wonder whether Trump has it all together, did you ever hear how he explained the 4th of July when he was president? No, I'm serious. This is true. His explanation how America won the Revolutionary War, I'm not making this up. He said in his 4th of July speech 5 years ago, he said, George Washington's army won the revolution by taking control of the airports from the British. We talk about me misspeaking. Airports and the British in 1776. It's true, he is a stable genius, this man. My friends, I'm in Wisconsin for one reason, because we're going to win Wisconsin today. We're going to win it. And let me tell you how we're going to do it. You know the reason. We're going to do it because of you all in this room to start with. Well, we're going to stand up for women in America. We're going to restore Roe v. Wade, the law of the land. We're going to stand up for the right to vote again. We're going to fight for Medicare and Social Security and child care, elder care, paid leave, all which grows economies. We're going to keep lowering the cost of prescription drugs and expanding health care for everyone. Not just. Look. We're going to protect our children
from getting weapons of war off our streets. That's what we're going to do. The idea that more children die from gunshot wounds in America is so wrong. It's sick. It really is sick. We're going to keep confronting climate change. The most important, we're going to save our democracy. Now you probably heard, we had a little debate last week. Can't say it was my best performance. But ever since then, there's been a lot of speculation. What's Joe going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? What's he going to do? Well, here's my answer. I am running and going to win again. Because we're going to go. Folks, I'm the sitting president of the United States of America in no small part because of you. That's not a joke. In 2020, you came through for me. I'm the nominee of the Democratic Party. I'm the nominee of this party because millions of Democrats like you just voted for me in primaries all across America. You voted for me to be your nominee, no one else. You, the voters did that. And despite that some folks don't seem to care who you voted for, well, guess what? They're trying to push me out of the race. Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020. Well, by the way, we're going to do it again in 2024. I learned long ago, when you get knocked down, you get back up. And I'm not letting one 90-minute debate wipe out 3.5 years of work. As the governor said, I've led this nation from the depths of pandemic to the strongest economy in the world, and that's literally true. And I and you are not finished yet. Now, you probably also noticed a lot of discussion about my age. I know I look 40. I keep seeing all those stories about I'm being too old. Let me say something. I was too old. I wasn't too old to create over 15 million new jobs. To make sure 21 million Americans are insured under the Affordable Care Act. To beat Big Pharma, the first firm to ever do that, and lower the cost of insulin to $35 procedure. Was I too old to relieve student debt for nearly 5 million Americans and grow the economy? Too old to put the first black woman on the Supreme Court of the United States of America? To sign the Respect for Marriage Act? Was I too old to sign the most significant gun safety law in 30 years? To pass the biggest climate bill in the history of the world, not here, the history of the world. But then, my critics say, sure, but he did all that. But that was in the past. What about now? Well, how about the 200,000 jobs we announced yesterday? So let me ask you, what do you think? You think I'm too old to restore Roe v. Wade, the law of the land? No. You think I'm too old to ban assault weapons again? No. To protect Social Security and Medicare? No. To get child care, elder care for working families who need the nation? To make billionaires finally start to pay something beyond 8.2% of the tax rate? Let me ask you, you think I'm too old to beat Donald Trump? I can hardly wait. Anyway. Folks, let's focus on what really matters. We're running against the biggest liar and the biggest threat, no, really, the biggest liar and biggest threat to our democracy in American history. That's not hyperbole. Over 150 presidential historians voted him the worst president in American history. No, the worst. As I've said before, he has the morals of an alley cat. He lies about the economy he created. The truth, he's one of only 2 American presidents who left office with fewer jobs than when he came into office. You know who the other one was? Herbert Hoover. Fact. That's why I call him Donald Herbert Hoover Trump. He lies about the pandemic he totally botched. The truth is, over 1 million people went on to die. He told us what? To inject bleach in our arm. It wasn't serious. He lied about how great he was for veterans in his administration. The truth, he called veterans who gave their lives serving America, and I was just in Normandy and on the beaches of Normandy and all through that area. And he said, I have trouble saying this because my son died as a consequence of Iraq. Who gave their lives, he called them, quote, suckers and losers. By the way, I'll be damned. I'm glad I wasn't with him because I'll be damned to let him talk about my son that way. That's right. But how do we know he said this? That I'm not making this up. A 4-star Marine general, his own former chief of staff was with him, and he told us that's what he said. But he's not the only former Trump official warning us about how bad Trump is, including the former secretaries of defense and even his own vice president. They refused to endorse him. Says a lot about who Trump is and says a lot about what he isn't. By the way, I couldn't ponder, I guess I shouldn't say it. But by the way, I couldn't be prouder to have your support and the support of our great Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. Trump is a convicted felon, found guilty, 34 felonies, trying to hide hush money payments to a porn star. Another jury found Trump sexually assaulted a woman in a public place, and he's been fined $90 million for defaming her. $90 million. They've only been bankrupt about 20 times, but I don't know. This so-called great businessman owes over $400 million in fines after being convicted in New York State of business fraud. Already convicted. Fined $400 million. Donald Trump isn't just a convicted criminal. He's a one-man crime wave. But Trump's biggest lie of all is he had nothing to do with the insurrection of January 6th. We all saw with our own eyes. We saw he sent thousands to attack the Capitol. We saw police being attacked, the Capitol being ransacked, the mob hunting for Nancy Pelosi. Gallows set up to hang Mike Pence. Let me ask you something. After what Trump did on January 6th, why would anyone ever let him be near the Oval Office again? Folks, the issue of this election is, what kind of America do we want to be? What kind of America do we want to be? We want to be a country of anger, revenge, and retribution, or a country of hope and optimism and possibilities, as we've always been. I want a country where women have a right to make their own health care decisions. Trump wants an America where abortion is banned and women are punished. I want an America where health care is a right, not a privilege. Trump wants to throw tens of millions of people who couldn't get insurance any other way than Obamacare off of Obamacare. I want America where the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Trump wants to give the very wealthy an additional, last time out when he was president, he gave them a $2 trillion tax cut, creating the largest deficit any president has in one term. Now he's announced he wants another $5 trillion tax cut, after already leaving the largest deficit. It's hard to make this up. I want to protect Social Security and Medicare. He wants to cut Social Security and Medicare so he can cut taxes for the very wealthy. I want to ban assault weapons, require universal background checks. You all heard him promise the NRA. He promised the National Rifle Association, I will do nothing about guns. That's what he said. I will do nothing about guns. And he means it. I want January 6th insurrectionists to serve their full prison terms. Trump wants to pardon them. Folks, you can't be pro-insurrectionist and pro-American at the same time. This is so damn serious. You can't love your country only when you win. Look, you've been standing a long time. Let me close with this. Ultimately, the American presidency is about character. The character of the president who holds the job. Because with the immunities the Supreme Court just talked about, it gets down to that. It gets down to that. It's about honesty. It's about the president's decency, integrity. Do they respect people? Or do they incite violence and hate? Can they honor their oath to the Constitution and uphold their oath of office? Well, I don't think it's an exaggeration to suggest Trump has failed on every one of these character tests. Every one. And what's worse, the Supreme Court has just ruled that there are virtually no limits on the power of the presidency. I know it sounds bizarre, but that's what they ruled. A frightening decision. According to the extreme majority of the Supreme Court, the president is now above the law. We just celebrated the 4th of July, saying we will not be ruled by a king. And this Supreme Court he appointed approved this new law. It's in a dangerous precedent, especially if Donald Trump has returned to the presidency. Just think about it. In the second term, this next term, whomever is the president is going to appoint at least 2 new appointees. A second Trump term where there are no limits. Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor warned us about that in her dissent in that case. Here's what she said. She noted that based on a majority decision, Trump can take out his opponents, physically take them out, take bribes, and lead a coup, and be immune to ever being held accountable for it if he did it while he was president, according to the Supreme Court. Where the hell are we? So he really could become a dictator that he promised to be on day one. For over 2 centuries, America's been a free, democratic nation. And I'll be damned if in the year 2024, just 2 years before our 250th anniversary of as a nation, I'll let Donald Trump take this away. Folks, this is not hyperbole. This race is about our freedom. It's about our democracy. It's about the very soul of America. Are we prepared to fight for that? I know I am, and I will. And folks, I have never been more optimistic about America's future because the American people are decent, good, honorable. You just have to remember who in God's name we are. We're the United States of America. I mean, think about it. Think about it in literal terms. And there's nothing beyond our capacity when we stand together. So let's stand together, win this election, and exile Donald Trump politically. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.